everybody. Good afternoon. I'm up early. It's a little early for me on the night shift. Have no choice. Got a major email from an American investigative journalist team, Bloomberg News, and it's coming here in Canada. CSIS, Canada's investigative of corruption across Canada, in conjunction with RCMP, are going to be releasing here the results of an investigation on municipal, provincial, and federal politicians that they've nailed for corruption, absolutely foreign payrolls. Now, this is countries like Russia, China, and the list goes on and on through the Asian Pacific. This is your Middle East and many, many other relatively authoritarian regimes, folks. Now, they're not listing any politicians. I'm going to be clear about Canada's Constitution. Again, for all those who don't know, there is no crime in Canada for any politician to be paid, to be lobbied, to enact with any country, none whatsoever. And more than just the story you're going to get, 87% of politicians guilty of absolutely being foreign funded, foreign influenced, will not be listed, folks. Did you hear me? Again, they will not be listed. Now, there's a bill in Senate out of Quebec that's going to address this. They're going to try and get it passed. But 87% of all foreign influenced politicians will not be addressed and will not be listed. Folks, it's pathetic. It's gross. The Canadian Constitution, in the preamble, the first opening statement, gives all of your sovereignty absolutely to the United Kingdom, which incorporates all of the Commonwealth, meaning all foreign influences are not foreign influences at all. It's good business by the first class. So, yes, we will hear about the 13% dealing with Russia, USA, all of the Asian Pacific, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and absolutely Asian countries as China. Only 13%. The whopping 87% of the thievery, the lying, the cheating, the destruction of you, the working Joe Janes, known as the third class, as well as all the savage Indians under the Indian Act, which is Métis and Inuit as well too, all numbered treaties. You won't see 87% of the existing corruption ever addressed or published, because that is constitutional, that is legal, and CSIS and RCMP are not to investigate because it's legal. It's legal in Canada. Your Constitution says in its highest law, introductory to Canada's constitutional acts, 4 parts, says that is okay. That is perfectly normal. Unlike almost 98% of the countries in the world that have redacted that, removed it, dismembered it, absolutely since World War II, but not Canada, not Australia, and not New Zealand. That's never to be. We will hear about the 13%, and maybe some politicians will be listed, but I have a large doubt that will ever leave the municipal level. The Crown is provincial and federal, giving mandates of the provincial Crown over the municipalities. And yes, they've written a lot of that in. As long as the municipal politicians are following that of the provincial crown, loyal to that provincial crown, and yes, loyal to the federal crown, there will be no wrongdoing. But if they're not loyal, they don't follow that listed in your constitution, they will be under the 13%. We will hear about it. Will it address all of the corruption of Canada? No. And no, more than this today, folks, coming in the next 6 to 8 hours, is absolutely the release of the statistics of last year, the exchange. Are you ready? Wages in the public sector, 39,000 new wages, over $100,000, are in relation to the drop of 212 primary sector jobs over $100,000. The exchange is dramatic. It's socialist. It defies all logic, and it destroys you, the tax-paying citizens. You can expect federal debts and deficits to only grow in Canada. Most provinces, provincial deficits will grow exponentially. It's terrible. It's disgusting. Your tax revenues are way, way down. Doesn't take a rocket scientist in these numbers or any real economist to not come forward and tell the truth. But you won't hear about it. It won't be breaking news. Breaking corruption, you won't hear about that from CSIS or the RCMP, because that's okay. That extreme socialism is okay. That inability to properly measure the economic output of the working class and the ability to get tax revenue to support that public sector is completely ignored. It's massive corruption. It's massive devastation, absolutely year over year. It's not just federal, folks, led by the Liberals, which is huge anyway. It's your largest source of tax revenue. That spells disaster. But it's provincial too, meaning it's also NDP's narrative. It's also Conservatives' narratives. There's a lot of Conservative-led premierships right across Canada, and they're doing it too. What end do we see in sight? When do we see for the people working a restoration of balance? There isn't any, folks. The corruption is huge. It's massive. We're going to see Quebec-led initiatives to target supposedly the Crown's enemies. I would like to target all enemies of Canada. That's real nationalism. That's real national security. And if you don't have that, folks, if we're going to ignore 87% of the corruption, you might as well roll up your tent and call it a day in this country. You might as well take a big old belly laugh at the RCMP and CSIS. It's a joke. Folks, you have to share this. It's going to be backed up in stories in the next 6 to 8 hours. I have the first round of it. It's going to be real. You need to share it, and anyone who doesn't, it's your choice not to. But I can promise you, every time I've released these breaking stories, it comes to pass within the 24-hour period. And we will see in the next 6 to 8 hours this story come out, but you're only going to hear about 13% of the corruption. They're going to leave out 87% of the absolute foreign-funded and paid politicians. It's left out in the Senate bill, and it's left out in the CSIS and RCMP investigation. They're sworn not to complete that. They're sworn not to complete that. They're sworn to the Crown, to the United Kingdom, the largest foreign influencing power, a power of Green New Deal that's destroying your country. As we see year over year, breaking just hours ago, the massive drop in primary sector wages, the largest source of tax revenue, in favor of the largest increase of public sector drain. If you don't understand what that means, I'm going to try it another way. It means 90% of your tax revenue fell in 212 full-time positions versus a gain in a draining and an only redistribution of a minor 10% of your tax revenue increased by 39,000. That spells financial disaster federally and provincially in many, many provinces. Anyone claiming otherwise isn't any kind of real economist at all, and probably a lover of the crown, and probably one of those foreign influenced paid to lie to you. This is real numbers, real investigative journalism, completed not by myself, polled from Stats Canada, polled from CSIS and RCMP's own investigations. Now, there's no law to hold any crown politician sworn to that crown accountable. CSIS is unable to do that, as well as the RCMP. Now, they're saying they're going to have the Senate bill passed this year to deal with 13% of it. China, Russia, and basically the Middle East, Southeast Asia, as it's commonly referred. Well, I would like to know about all the corruption. I don't know about all of you, but I would like a law that says, how about we put Canada first and we deal with all countries who take our national security and our sovereignty. Let's start with the Crown. Let's start with United Kingdom, where our constitution majorly broken comparatively to the entire world. Again, literally 98% of countries have had that removed from all colonials since 1945, but not Canada, not New Zealand, and not Australia. And there's others, but those are the three majors that clearly, in multiple references, Canada being the worst in its preamble, gives away all your sovereignty to a foreign power, a foreign crown, named and stated. And that's not corruption, that's not foreign influence, that's not wrong on every major national level of all countries when you compare it. Of course it is. But that is the highest law of Canada. That's good. That's good because it's bad for all of you, but it's good for the corrupt, foreign influenced politicians. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. CSIS, RCMP, sworn to the crown to keep that sequestered, mandated by your highest law in the world. 87% of your crummy, filthy, foreign influenced politicians will never be addressed. We're going to address 13% of it, though. Don't worry. We're going to get you all upset. Even though, again, I'm going to say this, Trudeau in bed with China, Harper before him, so clearly conservative, clearly liberal, but we're not going to name anybody, at least not in the federal level. I mean, it's easy to look at it. It's easy to look at it. You can see the Canada see no deal with Harper and the Conservatives signed away clearly many, many years ago, even though 77% of Canadians said no way. Whopping amount of Conservatives said no way. And in Privy Council, behind your back, in undemocratic fashion, they put it through. It's corruption, but we're never going to hear about it. We're not even going to name those politicians. We're not. Not going to name Trudeau either, and his Privy Council, and all of the Privy Councils before that. We're never going to name it. But we can target some municipal politicians, maybe some fallen out provincial politicians removed as they broke their oath if they did get a conscience. We'll hear about that in relation to Russia, China, the Middle East, but nothing about the rest of the massive 87% of the foreign influenced funded corruption. Should be treason in Canada, should be rendered illegal. We are a UN state. We've signed many international treaties that forbid all of this, absolutely, since 1945. In fact, our UN Charter states it's illegal. You can't be a UN state and participate that way. None of you are allowed to participate that way. Canada does it anyway. And we say nothing. CSIS says that's okay. We'll ignore the 87%. RCMP say we're sworn to ignore the 87%. The Senate bill is going to ignore 87% of the corruption. It's the illusion that they're dealing with major corruption. The reality is they're not. They're expanding it, folks. They're telling you communism is the problem. So many Canadians believe it's communism. But clearly, we're a constitutional monarchy. Divine politicians, first, second, third class, and the savage Indian. This is all backed up in all the highest laws of your country, the oldest embodiments of your Canadian Constitutional Act. 4 parts, 212 pages, not a one-page charter, one of 11 Canadian amendments, controlled, utilized by your Crown-elected politicians and all of those they appoint. If you read your 212 pages, you will find the Crown over and over and over again. What you won't find is any of you, the people, you, the working Joe Jane, third class, you're not there. Neither is the third class savage Indian, the savage Indian, which is Treaty, Métis, and Inuit. You're not there either. You're articulated in other parts. I didn't make these laws. I didn't make this system. I didn't write the Constitution. And I certainly didn't create any of the acts or amendments attached. The Charter, a one-page document, is basically turned over to your divine politicians for them to see as they see fit, enact it as they wish, interpret it as they wish. This is before it, and again, presented after it. We've all seen it happen, no matter what walk of life you are. Many Canadians have. From convoy to savage Indian, many people have seen it. Union workers have seen it. So many people have seen it from left or right scales. Religious folks have seen it. The divine politicians do as they wish, and in foreign-funded, foreign-influenced fashion. CSIS and RCMP are going to ignore 87% of the corruption today. They're going to target 13%, and I doubt very much in that 13% you're going to hear about any of the foreign-funded and influenced politicians who are very, very wealthy today, federally and provincially. We have some seriously wealthy politicians with zero education, zero, but yet they're extremely wealthy, and we're still not going to hear not one word, not one iota. But trust CSIS, trust RCMP, sworn and paid by that Crown. We'll worry about Russia, China, Middle East, Southeast Asia, but not the rest of the 87% that's literally raping, pillaging, and plundering you, and absolutely all your children of tomorrow. Debts and deficits only continue to explode. Again, if you haven't heard, statistically, we lowered wages in 212 primary sector jobs, meaning we dropped that many over $100,000 jobs, gained 39,000 public sector over $100,000 a year jobs. And some of those are extreme, as you've seen in bonuses just from some elite medical field public sector workers. Explosive amounts of money. That's just a handful. 39,000 of them. Well, the primary sector worker responsible for 90% of the tax revenue source, 212,000 of them fell below $100,000 a year. And we watched 39,000 public sector workers rise well above 100,000, some massively above $100,000. Corruption, corruption, corruption. It's going to be published in the next 6 to 8 hours. You're going to hear about that Senate bill. It's not going to address 87% of the corruption, but it will convince a lot. Share this. It's breaking news. It's going to be released in Canada. Get it out there. Know the difference. Know the truth. Learn about the Crown. Learn about 87% of the foreign-influenced, foreign-funded corruption made legal in Canada that CSIS and RCMP will not address. That's my video. Get it out there. Share, share, share. It's truthful, verifiable, and it's the right thing to do. Thank you. Bye now.